Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast. This is Abe, your host. It is June 26th now. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is Blue Pill Podcast. This is my current studio. Okay. So, you guys know me. I'm a crazy person. I talk to myself a lot. That's why I created a podcast, because it helps me get the voices out of my head, you know. I figure if I'm going to sit here and talk to myself for hours, might as well be constructive and, turn it into a podcast. So, dude, we are going through, this is probably the hottest summer I've ever felt in Kentucky. So, past couple days, it's been like 95 degrees. Some people are saying it's hotter. I'm just saying what I'm seeing on my phone. Like, I live in a trailer right now, and it's literally, with the AC running, it's 85 degrees in my room. Like, it's fucking hot. And 95 out there. So, you guys know me. Normally I eat my lunch. Well, dinner, and I'll do a podcast before work in my car. It was so hot today that literally my phone started overheating and shut down in the middle of a podcast. So I was like, okay, guess you all ain't getting a podcast today. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to figure something out. I'll podcast at the house from now on. Just eat here, podcast here. So if you see a different fluctuation in times of the podcast coming out, or just not as many, that's what's going on. It is so fucking hot here in Kentucky. And the crazy thing is, it's 95 degrees right now. They're literally saying that next week it's supposed to be hotter, which means we're going to get into like 105, 110 degrees. So yeah. But yesterday, you guys know, I kept telling you, I'm going to beat a Zelda soon. I've been working on Zelda 2 and Zelda Oracle of Ages. Last night, I beat Oracle of Ages. So, let's get into it. I told you guys I was going to review it. Let's review it. Also, just a real quick plug. I have a whole playlist that I created. First of all, if you want any game reviews, I believe I have a game review playlist, but I also have a Blue Pill podcast playlist if you like non-conspiracy Blue Pill types of podcast, because yes, I wear a tinfoil hat, but I'm not completely crazy. I still do I'm still a normal guy, and sometimes I want a podcast about non-conspiracy. And I have an entire playlist right now. It's just called Zelda. I have 3 episodes on it. I have a Link's Awakening review, a Zelda 1 review, and an episode talking about the new Zelda movie coming out. So, go check those playlists out. Also, I have a buymeacoffee.com. So, please donate if you like my podcast. Blue Pill Podcast or Conspiracy Corner. It helps pay for notebooks, helps pay for pens, paper, it goes back to the channel. So, yeah, please subscribe. So, Oracle of Ages. Basically, I think this is the original Link. So, on Zelda 1, Link was 10 years old. And in Zelda 2, it's supposed to be 6 years later. They kind of explain within the booklet, that it's a different Link. It's the same Impa, same Link. It's just 6 years later after the first Zelda. So he's 16 years old. And he has a Triforce appear on his left hand. And he goes to Impa like, hey, what's this? And they're like, hey, there's a secret Zelda that's been locked in the Castle of Hyrule. And it's not the same Zelda that you saved before. But you gotta save this one. And by the way, Ganon's minions are trying to resurrect Ganon and kill you and use your blood to sprinkle over his ashes to resurrect Ganon. Storyline's pretty good. And then, Link to the Past, I've heard even the... Okay, I have tried to wrap my head around the Zelda timelines. First of all, I've watched multiple videos of different content creators talk about the timelines. They contradict each other. Even the creators of Zelda contradict each other. So I've heard people say that Zelda 3 is a proper sequel to Zelda 2. Link, for some reason, has pink hair. That's never explained. I haven't heard an explanation for it. Also, I've heard that, no, it's not a sequel to Zelda 2. It's a precursor to Zelda 1. I have no fucking clue. From what I've gathered, Zelda 1 and 2 are the same Link. That's non-disputable. Zelda Link's Awakening, my favorite Zelda, which I reviewed on this channel before, go check it out, is after Zelda 1 and 2. Basically, it was a time of peace in Hyrule, and Link left Hyrule on a boat to go train. So he was kind of going in like a Goku training arc, you know? And got shipwrecked and landed on Koholint Island. Now, Oracle of Ages, I believe that it's the same Link. He has blonde hair, but he has the Triforce on his left hand. So I think it's the original Link. Now, is it before Link's Awakening or after Link's Awakening? I don't know. But, so, if you know in the comments, hey, hit me up. Which, the OG Link, the original Link, is my favorite Link. So, first of all, dude, Oracle of Ages, we're going to talk about Seasons a little bit. I do plan on playing Seasons and beating it, because I've been going through the whole Zelda library for Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced. It's just what I've been into. For some reason this year, I started playing Game Boy Advanced. And, well, I remember why, because we moved here and I don't have any of my old systems. And I've been going through a lot of shit lately, and just to help me pass my time and get my mind off of stress and shit, I've been going back to video games, and I don't have any systems hooked up, so I just bought a Game Boy Advanced SP for like $100, and I've been going through the Game Boy library, you know. And my wife the other day bought me Link's Awakening, and dude, it spurred something in me. I'm like, dude, I want to play all the Zeldas again. Because I used to, back in the day, have all the Zeldas for Game Boy Advance. I had all of them, but Minish Cap. That's the only one I didn't have. So I've been replaying. I prefer Oracle of Ages over Oracle of Seasons. They both connect. Like, you can beat it individually without playing the other, but they both connect. It's a linked game. Pun intended. Now, Oracle of Ages is more... The storyline is amazing. So basically, you come to Labrina, I think is the name of the... No, it's not Labrina, it's Lena. It's either Lena or Labrina, I can't remember, forgive me. You come to this place from Hyrule, and you meet Impa, and you meet this songstress named Nehru, and she has what I think is a boyfriend or love interest named Ralph. Which, here's the crazy thing about Ralph. First of all, I remember even as a little kid going, dude, this, I loved his character design. He's got like, he kind of looks like Link, but Link is blonde in this one, and Ralph has like black hair. I think he has hair over one eye. He has kind of like a cap like Link's, but it's a little more witchy. He wears a black cape. He has a sword. He's an adventurer like Link. And I remember as a little kid going like, yeah, I want to play this game. Like, I want to be Link and play Zelda, obviously, but why doesn't Ralph have his own game? So, I don't know. I would love to talk to, like, the creators of Zelda and be like, hey, dude, Ralph, let him have a game. Because you meet up with Ralph, he's adventuring alongside with you, and you meet up with him multiple times throughout the game. I don't know. And I have a theory. When I first played it, I was like, Ralph looks just like Solomon from Solomon's Club. And if you guys don't know, Solomon's Club is basically like a rip-off of Zelda. You're gathering keys, saving fairies. Instead of a sword, you have a wand. You're literally a guy, an elf who wears green and brown. He looks exactly like Link. I'm gonna play it and do a review on it. It's actually a really good game, but it was like a rip-off of Zelda. And the sprite that they use for Ralph looks exactly like the sprite for Solomon from Solomon's Club. So that's a little theory I have, and Zelda has been known to do crossover little Easter eggs, like Link's Awakening is full of them. There's all sorts of Mario creatures, Mr. Right from SimCity. You give him a photograph of Princess Peach. There's all sorts of cross references, and then of course there's the famous like Final Fantasy Zelda cross references of in Final Fantasy 1, I think you go to a graveyard and it says here lies Link. You know. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were kind of doing a shout out Easter egg to Solomon's Club, you know, like, hey, we see you, you know. So let's go. But the storyline for this one is beautiful. It's probably, I would say, as of right now, this is my second favorite Zelda. There's a lot of talking. For some reason that pisses people off. I don't understand that because Zelda is like an action RPG. I know, that's crazy to say, but I love story, you know. Link's Awakening is my favorite. This has like a lot more dialogue, which I enjoy. But I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so it doesn't bother me. One thing that I didn't like, this is where I will say that Seasons is a little bit better in this aspect. So, Oracle of Ages is more puzzle based, which I know this is going to sound weird, but I love Zelda, but if the puzzles are too hard and I'm doing way too much backtracking in dungeons and stuff like that, I get frustrated. Sometimes I want to play Zelda and just hack and slash, you know. And this one is all about the puzzles, and they made Oracle of Seasons more hack and slash. But the thing I don't like about Oracle of Seasons is the storyline sucks. The storyline is generic as fuck. There's like some knight, he's an evil knight. He's taking over, you gotta get a wand. It's like super quick, you're thrown into it, and it's all about hack and slash. So that's kind of nice, because it reminded me of Zelda 1, where it's kind of like, here, take this sword, now go fucking fight monsters and shit. This one is all about the puzzles, which kind of turned me off just a little bit. That's why this isn't going to get a perfect score. But I remember the vibe, the storyline is basically like the songstress that you meet. She gets possessed by this evil witch named Viren, who has this like devil lock. So I don't know if the creators were like a fan of Misfits or horror punk, but it's just something as a horror punk, ex-horror punk singer, like I noticed. I was like, damn, devil locks, okay, cool. She's a badass villain. I've heard people say, oh, she's underwhelming as a villain. I'm like, dude, Viren to me was sick as fuck. She has like a shadow form, and I was born and raised Christian, so my parents were, and my dad was a preacher, so my parents were kind of cool with Christianity. Or not Christianity, they were obviously cool Christian. Kind of cool with Zelda. But this was a game that we had to hide. Because literally the opening scene, you meet this songstress, you meet Ralph, you meet Impa, and there's like lightning strikes, the sky turns dark. And I remember as a kid getting goosebumps and getting creeped out. The music, by the way, is excellent for this game. It sets the vibes. That's why I started it out with some music, but and that's from Ages. And I'm playing the actual cart and stuff. I remember getting creeped out as a kid. Not like bad creeping, like not like I'm a wimp or something, but I remember like talking to my brothers like, dude, mom and dad cannot know about this game. Like if we're ever playing it in front of them, like they don't need to know the details of this, because the main villain literally possesses Nehru, the songstress, and like demon possession in our house, it's a evil sorceress possessing someone, demon possessing them. Like, nope, that game would have been cut out like immediately. My parents were super fucking strict. But hang on. But yeah, the crazy thing is go check out my review on Zelda 1. Like, Link is actually a Christian originally, and it's so crazy that parents like hated Legend of Zelda, and they took out the Christianity elements when it got brought to America. Like, the main religion of Hyrule was Christianity. Link was a Christian, hence the cross on his shield and stuff. And it's just sad. I mean, I go through, don't get me started on religion, it's dumb. So, let me see. The ring system, dude. The ring system. This is what makes the replayability so fucking high on this Zelda. Is I'm like a huge... I love collecting stuff. Like, I did a review on Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone. I would love to keep playing that game just to collect all the wizard cards. As long as the item that I'm collecting is something cool, like with the wizard cards in that Harry Potter game, like it has a picture and it's literally like trading cards. And there's a trading card club and you can trade cards and stuff. It's so fucking cool. I was like, dude, I want to keep playing this game even though I beat it just to collect all the cards. That's how I felt with the ring system in this game. I loved it. And I've heard people talk shit about it. I'm like, why, dude? This is badass. First of all, it helps you. Like, I had a gold luck ring, which makes it to where every rupee you collect, it times it by 2. And there's gigantic rupees that equal 100. So when you dig it up and collect it, it's now 200 rupees. Like that. There's also like really fun rings that are just cool to play with. So like there's one ring that I collected. It was called the Gen 1 ring. And it literally turns your sprite into the Link from Zelda 1. There's a Moblin ring. There's a like ring. There's a really cool ring. I don't remember what it's called, but it causes you to punch whenever you're unarmed. Which, if you can get that ring before you go to Crescent Island, it's actually useful because when you first get to Crescent Island, you don't have any of your items. So, like, now that you're unarmed, you can punch people, you know? Kind of a decent ring. Now, when you do transform into a like or a moblin, you can't talk to anyone, you can't attack anyone, but you can still get hurt. So, it's just kind of like a fun ring to just play with, you know? So, I personally love, like, the whole ring system thing and the whole collectability, and it makes the replay value go up super high. So, like, I got 2 Zeldas I'm waiting on in the mail. I got Minish Cap, and I have... I don't want to spoil it yet. I'll let you guys... I'll talk about it another day. You'll see. It's knock on wood, it's gonna be fucking awesome, dude. As long as it comes in and works and everything. So right now I'm like replaying Zeldas that I either beat and didn't collect all the items or do extra missions and shit. And I'm just kind of doing that shit right now. Like, I'm trying to get the Rupee Ring in Oracle of Ages. I beat it last night, so I'm like, I don't have any Zeldas to play right now, but I still want to play Zelda, so I'm like, well, I have Zelda 2 right now I'm working on. But I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna sit here and dig in the ground to try to collect 10,000 rupees so I can get the Rupee Ring that way, and I'm going to collect as much rings as I possibly can right now, so that way when I get Oracle of Seasons, I can link the games and transfer my rings over there. Like, it's awesome, dude. The replay value is super fucking high on this game. Also, too, even as, like, a little kid, when I first played this game, dude, because, like, I grew up with Legend of Zelda. I remember my oldest brother and my older brother playing, like, Zelda 1 and 2 and Link to the Past. And the creator of the Zelda basically said he loved going out into his backyard, into the woods with a stick and going on adventures and, like, hitting trees and attacking plants and shit. Like, he felt like Link. And as someone who grew up with, like, decent amounts of lands, I felt the same way growing up. You know, you gave me a wooden sword, I was slashing up plants and shit, and, you know, digging in the ground. I remember getting shovels and just randomly digging holes to try to find treasure and shit. And I remember when this game came out, we were like, I was a kid, like a little kid. Not little, but I was a kid. Like, preteen, but I was still immature and stuff. And I remember collecting rings. And I've always been drawn to, like, witchcraft and stuff. Like, you guys know that. I'm an occultist. And to this day, like, I have, like, a Tetragrammaton ring. I have a Lucifer Sigil ring. I have mood rings. I love rings, like, magical rings, like, from occult stores. And it's because of this game, dude. I remember as a little kid, like, collecting change and, like, those little 25-cent ring machines. I would buy rings and, like, little did I know I was doing actual witchcraft, but I was, like, making these rings, willing them to have, like, powers and shit. Like, this ring right here, I can read your mind. This one, I can turn invisible, you know. I was practicing magic before I even studied magic and became, like, a ceremonial magician, but it was because of this game. I remember being a little kid collecting all these little 25-cent, you know, little slot gumball machine rings and stuff, and, like, running around with a wooden sword and tons of rings on my finger. And I don't know. I miss being a kid sometimes. But, so, let's see. So, do not listen any further if you have never played this, but spoiler alert, Viren is actually one of... So, there's twin witch sisters. They're Ganon's mothers. And the theory is that Ganon was adopted. They're not, like, his actual biological mother. They're twins, and they've actually showed up tons of times in Zelda. I'm trying to remember, what were they called? Windrova sisters, I think is what they're called. They're like huge witch noses, fly around on brooms. They're two witches. And basically, they're trying to resurrect Ganon. So it's kind of like similar to Zelda 2. They're trying to resurrect Ganon. And they appear as Viren, and I can't remember the villain for Seasons. It's some knight dude. That's one of the sisters. So, just saying. So, Link's Awakening, I beat that one pretty quickly, dude. I beat that one within like a week. Maybe even less than a week. I'm talking like 4 or 5 days. The only reason I beat that one so quickly was because I knew what I was doing. Like, that's probably the Zelda that I've played the most. Zelda 1 took me, I'd say like a month and a half, and this one took me, I got this pretty close to around the same time as Zelda 1. This might be the longest Zelda that I've played, and I've still got a shit ton of side stuff to do on it. Yeah, I would say so far this is the longest Zelda that I've played. I think I've been playing it for about 2 months. And yeah. So that's one thing that I brought up, because you guys have noticed, if you watch my game reviews, go check out my other game reviews if you're interested in old game reviews. The hardware for the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, because this is a Game Boy Color cart, is not underrated, but it's underestimated. You underestimate my power. They really do, dude. You can fucking cram so much gameplay into Game Boy Color carts and Game Boy carts, because Link's Awakening was for Game Boy. And also, too, like, if you look at older games like Final Fantasy Legends series for Game Boy, those were long fucking games, dude. And it just amazes me that everyone is kind of brainwashed of like, oh, it's a Game Boy Advance game, the average length is only 5 hours, you know, and I'm like, no, that's either they're being rushed on time, not given enough money, something there, or they're just being lazy. But this game was long as hell, you know, and I still haven't like completed it 100%. I beat it, but I didn't complete it 100%. Like, I don't know. It's something I've ranted about over and over and over again with Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance, of how they've, like, come up with a billion excuses why games, for some reason, are only, like, 5 hours long, you know? Maybe 8 hours, but then you play a game like this, and I've been playing this for, like, 2 months. And I've been using walkthroughs and everything, and it still is taking me like 2 months to beat this game, you know? So, just saying. So, overall, it's a 9 out of 10. It's an amazing fucking game. It is a beautiful game. The only thing that I wish is that, and I know, like I said, Oracle of Ages was specifically puzzle heavy, but the story is so goddamn good for this one. And there's so much cutscenes and dialogue, which I love. And Seasons is less of that. Less puzzles, less dialogue, less story, more hack and slash, which is more what I like as far as gameplay. It's better than Seasons, obviously. I've said that before, but I give it a 9 out of 10. I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the review. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about Oracle of Ages. And y'all have a good day.